dare summon the Queen of Hell.
What's up, Raiders, and welcome to the Ultimate Hela guide. In this video I will teach you everything you need to know about Hela, including combos, playstyle, secret tech and more. So if you're a complete beginner or already have some experience, I guarantee you that this video has something for you to learn, so be sure to watch until the end. Hela is like the ultimate long-range sharpshooter in the duelist world, taking out foes from a distance while gracefully dodging incoming attacks like a ninja in the sky. Her knight sword thorns are basically her secret weapon. Think of them as precision-guided missiles that deliver rapid, consistent damage to anyone who dares to cross her path. Astral Flock lets her morph into a squadron of crows, soaring gracefully in whatever direction she's eyeing. Meanwhile, Hell's Descent gives her the power to float down gently once she's airborne. But wait, there's more. Every foe Hela takes down spawns an Astron Crow right where they bit the dust, which goes kaboom shortly after. This makes her a real aerial menace, especially when she swoops in on a tightly packed group of enemies. So Drainer lets Hela unleash a fiery hell sphere that goes boom. This magical orb yanks enemies' swords like they're in a bad dance-off, leaving them dazed and confused for a hot second. And just when you thought it couldn't get any cooler, her final trick up her sleeve is called Piercing Knight. Hela's a nifty trick up her sleeve. She can launch a barrage of knight sword thorns that zoom towards her foes and go kaboom after a brief pause. This makes her ultimate long-range artillery expert. Whether she's perched high on the map or lurking in the shadows of an objective, talk about a thorny situation for her enemies. Her grand finale is the Goddess of Death. With this power, she takes to the skies, transforming into a majestic bird with a front row seat to the world below. With this lofty perch, she can release Astron crows from her hands, which then dive bomb the ground like feathered fireworks, creating a spectacular explosion upon impact. Hela is like the friend who shows up to a party with just a bag of chips but somehow ends up being the life of the bash. She's a mid to long range duelist with a kit so simple it could be mistaken for a beginner's guide. Yet she packs a punch that can leave opponents wondering what just hit them. With a little bit of aim and some clever positioning, she transforms from a relentless force, racking up eliminations like they're going out of style. Her Astral Flock ability is like having a personal elevator. She can zip up to high ground in a flash or make a daring escape when the heat is on. From her lofty perch, she's a nightmare for strategists and ranged duelists lurking in the backline, effortlessly knocking them out of the game with just a few well-placed shots. And let's not forget her knack for swatting down airborne foes like pesky flyers with just a couple of hits. Under the right circumstances, her passive ability and secondary fire can unleash some seriously impressive area of effect chaos, and that before we even mention her ultimate. Honestly, she's the whole package when it comes to range damage dealers. It's no wonder that she's a near permanent ban in higher ranks. Nobody wants to deal with that kind of trouble. Her only team up at the moment is with Thor and Loki. Unsurprisingly, when Queen of Hell is active, any final hit by Hela will instantly revive Thor or Loki on the spot or grant them bonus health if they're still alive. I like to think of it as especially useful for Thor, as he tends to dive in a lot. You just need to be popping off to get it rolling. Thor and Loki's weapons will hover over the spot where they died, and this is where they'll get revived if you manage to get a final hit before they respawn. Enemies can see these too. As for the bonus health, they will both gain 50 per final hit, and this caps out at 100. As I pointed out earlier, I get to high ground whenever possible. This will make it easier to hit key targets behind the vanguards, as shields will be your bane. Unless their tanks are being an issue, focus on the healers or out of position duelists. Characters like Luna, Snow and Mantis are easy pickings since they can just zip away once you lock on to them. Just bear in mind that your aim has to be pretty precise, as their hitboxes are going to be relatively small if you're shooting from afar. if there's no high ground or not particularly safe to go high, you can always just play behind the vanguards or tanks. I'll call them tanks because this reminds me of Overwatch. As long as the healers can reach you when needed, you should be fine for the most part. Proper positioning is mostly situational. Knowing when it's appropriate to stay up high or get behind your team is something that you have to figure out on the go by assessing the current map's layout and team's compositions. In general, try to find odd angles if they've got too many shields, walls up front. And who to watch out for if you find yourself in a mirror match against another Hela. I recommend focusing them as much as possible. One of the greatest threats to you and your team will be your counterpart. Force them away with some hits or straight up kill them if you can. The same goes for somebody like Hawkeye, assuming that they're really good at landing arrows. Take him out of the picture before anything else, and as he is likely to knock you off your high ground too. Outside of those two, flankers like Spider-Man, Black Panther or Star-Lord can be a bit annoying to deal with if the other team has characters like them around. Be mindful of their positioning and try to get them to drop on them before they can dive you. If you can find a teammate who pings flankers like them, make sure to pay attention to their signals and get ready for an aim check. If it's not on cooldown, save your soul drainer for when they engage. If you're inexperienced with shooters or have gotten too used to leading shots with other heroes like Moon Knight, practice your aim at the range for a bit before hopping into competitive. As one of the few hit scan characters in the game, Hela's effectiveness hinges a lot on one's aim. Get used to clicking on people's heads and you'll hopefully be hovering around at least 40 to 50% accuracy in your matches, if not higher. This applies for any other hit scan characters like Punisher. No, seriously, practice your aim. Like I said at the very start, Hela is incredibly straightforward as long as you keep practicing how to tap fire her primary and actually hit things with it. Even if you're only going for body shots, you're going to be a huge asset to your team. Once you become more comfortable with her hit scan nature, start practicing those headshots. It's going to be tough at first because certain characters have very small hitboxes unless you're up close, but once it clicks, you'll be a beast. If you're already good at the shooting part, well, just keep it going. Enjoy Hela while she's still hilariously strong. As the patch notes came through, she will be nerfed with 250 health instead of the 275, which is at. Good thing for you, all you Hela mains, is that her other abilities and damage remain untouched. Keep in mind also, but that the seasonal bonus is going to be reduced by 5%. Hela's origin story is quite a cosmic roller coaster. Picture this: Bor Burson, the then All-Father, decided to whip up an artificial black infinity stone in a top secret spot in Niflheim. But just as the magicians were getting their magic on, who shows up but the Mad Titan Thanos from the future, looking to snag that shiny stone for himself. Thankfully, Bor and his fierce Valkyries weren't having any of it. With a little help from Galactus' seed and the Eternal Flame, Miskin and her magical crew crafted the stone to serve as a power source. Just when Thanos thought he could swoop in and take it, the stone pulled a fast one on transform the baby girl. Thanos, ever the villain, planned to sacrifice her for her powers, but not on Doctor Doom, Thor and future Losa, Odin's daughter, Swatch. In a twist of fate, Losa whisked the newborn Hela through time, fast-forwarding her to her teenage year, and who does she end up with? A young Loki and his partner Angerboda, who decided to raise her as her own daughter. Talk about a family reunion in the cosmos. Overall, she's very good in Marvel Rivals and very fun to play. Remember to have good cooldown management so you're able to get out of those tight situations. And let me know if this guide helped you down in the comments, and also let me know which character you'd like to see a guide on next. Until next time, Raiders, bye bye.